Hello everyone, welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully you're having a great day. If you've been watching Larry's Anything Goes programming, you know that we are not only providing great financial intelligence content as much as possible by interviewing other financial professionals, professionals in the travel industry, real estate industry, etc. and so forth, but we provide various services when it comes to specific products that we sell, from anything that you would actually find on Amazon or actually at Walmart, etc. and so forth. And we are actually providing specific products due to today's current crisis and whatnot to ensure that we provide the right services and products that you need at a reasonable price when it comes to medical face masks, when it comes to hand sanitizer, and when it comes to latex gloves and things of that nature, and etc. and so forth, toilet paper, paper towels. But we have what you need. Also, family, don't forget that Larry's Anything Goes is a part of an affiliate marketing network known as Gold Standard Partners, where you have the opportunity to buy cryptocurrency and allow others to invest with you as becoming an affiliate marketing partner. And obviously, if they purchase a package with the program, you're able to make money off the package purchases and make money off of the crypto purchases and things of that nature. If you want to join, please follow the links in the description, and I'll give you a call as soon as you sign up and purchase a package, and we'll go from there. But definitely, it's all about the best way to make money moves is to have currency with one another and to ensure that currency is always being spoken of on all levels, so it benefits everyone and not just one specific person. That's a lot of things that people forget about. So think about joining the program and we'll be able to go from there. But if not, either way, it's always appreciated. And thank you for watching, and hopefully you guys have a great day and continuously make money moves so you don't live broke like a fool. Take care. As you can see, with our various products, we have our financial apparel, as you see, wearing There's Anything Goes t-shirt, financial intelligence is sexy, face masks, latex gloves, things of that nature, to obviously ensure the safety of you and your family all at the same time. We want to ensure that you get the best products and see the actual products that we're actually providing for you, and giving you another view of not only the shirts and the medical masks, but actually another view of actual latex gloves and the actual hand sanitizer. Because one thing we've learned throughout this unfortunate crisis is that we have to take more precautionary measures to ensure not only the safety for ourselves, but for our families. And having a great pair of hand sanitizers, latex gloves, and medical face masks will ensure that safety. And with all that being said, hopefully you guys will check out our online store. We have the various products that you see here. With a couple of clicks, especially if you're paying via PayPal, it makes life that much easier for you to purchase our various products, especially during this unfortunate situation. You see the apparel from Larry's Anything Goes. We have the medical products when it comes to hand sanitizer, latex gloves, medical face masks, and things of that nature, and various other products. So please check out Larry's Anything Goes. Support small local businesses. We greatly appreciate it, and hopefully that you have a How goes the family? How goes it? Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. It's Saturday. It's all good in the neighborhood, and hopefully you guys are having a great day. All right. Now I know we've had some great times talking about Kanye West, and even seeing him go through what he's going through now. It's reminds me of the video I made a couple of days ago. It's like eventually people will have to, no matter how powerful people think they are, they might have to be put in a position where they might have to renegotiate something, or as they say on Game of Thrones, bend the knee. And he's at the bend the knee now. So, but I'm actually happy that's happening because one, eventually everybody needs a reality check. Two, eventually everybody has to answer to somebody. So that's just another thing to take into consideration. But three, we're not really here to talk about Mr. Ye as he goes by nowadays. We're here to talk about 401Ks because we know that pension plans have become a thing of the past. Even if you work for a government institution, um, they've all adopted the 401k contribution plans, and even a lot of people, even to this day, they don't even have a 401k. They don't have an individual retirement account known as IRA and whatnot. A lot of times people don't realize, especially a lot of immigrants, they just do a great job of saving money, owning assets, i.e. real estate and businesses. And a lot of times now, and then of course, some certain times in the near future or later on in their lives, once they get in 40s and 50s, a lot of times that's when they start investing the money in the stocks and bonds and nowadays cryptocurrency. But even then, so if you add on to the fact of having a whole life insurance policy, because you have more and more people that are adopting the mindset of having being their own bank, because you see what happens if you Kanye West is a great example. Ye is a great example of what happens when you solely rely on the bank. Now, am I saying anything bad about banking institutions? No, they're operating in their best interest, just like any other institution supposed to. But I am saying is, since when a person becomes a CEO of their own life, they need to be able to have options, and doesn't necessarily mean 100% that things are going to work itself out. No, but it does mean that, hey, if one door closes, another one should be able to open, and just leave it at that. Like having one, my personal opinion, just having one single bank account is a bad idea. Just having one brokerage that you invest your money in is a bad idea, but to each his own. I utilize a variety of different brokerages to invest my money in. I use Acorn, Stash, WEBULL, Coinbase, Crypto.com, all those different platforms to, because certain things could happen. You never know, your account might get hacked. Or something may have happened to the point where the institution doesn't want to utilize you as a customer, and they look at you as a customer who is a threat, or fraudulent, by not even by no reason, specific reason whatsoever. These things can happen, so it's always nice to have a backup plan. Same thing with a job. The economy could go bad, layoffs could happen, the company could just go out of business, period. A lot of times, especially when people work for small businesses, people don't want to have that conversation. Those, that's why it's just become so normal in today's world for people to be more and more and happier and feel actually more secure in being self-employed than they do actually working for another employer. That's the time frame that we're living in nowadays, and a lot of times people don't want to acknowledge that, or don't even understand it because they're not thinking about it. But I leave it at that. So, but at the end of the day, the main reason why I'm going live, article that I was reading this morning as I was getting my car inspected. It's about three reasons your 401k is not enough for retirement, and this was actually according to Investopedia. So obviously, do your own homework, and because full disclaimer, hey, I have a 401k employer. I have a self-directed IRA and whatnot via my business, my Patterson L Properties, a wholesaling real estate business. I have at least three individual retirement accounts. So I believe in diversification. When it comes to retirement and whatnot, and obviously I'm banking on other things to help me out in my when I quote unquote reach my older years, because I know for me that no matter how much money I put away in a retirement plan, it's not going to be enough, but especially when you even add in inflation. And I'm not an economist. I'm not giving out financial advice. If you want, it boils down to your retirement account, it's called, you got to, since you're the CEO of your life, you got to make the executive decision, not just a guy or a person on freaking YouTube. So I'm just going to put that disclaimer out. This is all for information purposes. I'm not giving out financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. All right. But people know that 401k plans have many benefits, especially given the fact that you're matching money. I mean, you're adding money, having money taken out of your paycheck. Your employer's matching it. Certain employers, they only match it after a certain amount of time. A lot of employers, even if they do start matching your contributions, every single one of your contributions, and I always for me, I max out the most as possible. I'm not going to say what you should do with your 401k plan, but that's what I do. Anyways, um, but another thing is a lot of times employers are like, well, you have to be employed with us for a certain amount of time if you want to be able to be fully, quote unquote, vested. I remember I had to work for an employer which will remain nameless. I had to work for them for 3 years in order for me to be fully vested. If I would have left that employer before my 3 year time, so say if I would have left 2 years into working for them, then I would have unfortunately lost all the money that they matched to my 401k. I would have been able to roll over my money into another 401k or IRA account, but the money that they contributed would have been flat out gone. A lot of employers do that, just like with the tuition reimbursement programs. Anything wrong with that? No, because they're investing in you, so they expect you to invest in them. That's just the way the game goes. That's why I laugh at the whole voting election nonsense, because if I'm giving you something to give you my vote, what am I getting in return? Well, we're going to give you a nice speech like it's 1965, and we're going to pretend to be the fake Martin Luther King of today's world. I don't operate like that, and most people, working people, darn should not operate like that. I know most business people don't operate like that because we look at facts, figures, and numbers, not speeches and glorification. But I digress. Anyways, so that's a beautiful benefit of utilizing a 401k, having a 401k, obviously, when you get older. Even a beautiful reason, you're able to, and this is what I've done. If you want to, like, set up a self-directed IRA for your business so that you can utilize money for investment purposes with your business and whatnot. I've done rollovers from my 401k to my self-directed IRA, and was able to borrow from my self-directed IRA in case I needed to get some work done on my property, or in case I wanted to buy more properties to participate in more tax liens or tax sales. But that's in a sense becoming your own bank, because you have an account that you can actually borrow a specific amount of money from. Okay, and you're paying yourself when you pay make payments back to that account, you're paying yourself back. So therefore, you in a sense you've become your own bank. It's the same thing when you have your whole life insurance policy. When you contribute to that whole life insurance policy for a significant amount of time and whatnot. And then even a lot of other smart people are actually partnering up and doing this with one another, not just doing it individually. You have families and friends that partner up and do this and have whole life insurance policies, make the monthly payments, let the money accumulate from a couple of years because that money is getting invested into various other accounts and whatnot. Then borrowing from that specific whole life insurance plan. And I remember Chris told me about it, and I did research in regards to it. And then you'd be able to become your own bank in that way, and they call that in-home banking, things of that nature. Because then, if you wanted to borrow from, you can borrow, and this is all tax-free. Being able to borrow money from your whole life insurance policy, and the way that you're paying yourself back is by your regular monthly payments. Beautiful thing. So, but the main reason why I'm making this video today is because I think for those who are just planning on contributing to their 401k, even if they're going to max out, in my opinion, like I said, I'm not an economist, I don't think that's the only route you should depend on, because it's just one source of income, even in retirement, is a heck, and if Social Security is even around. So say if you got two sources of income, quote unquote, when you reach retirement age, is that going to really be enough? You got to do the numbers for yourself. You got to see where you're trying to live. This is why, because so many people have not done that, that's why it's going to be normal for them to not just move down south anymore. I guarantee in the next 20, 30 years, it is going to be so normal for Americans to be living in the Caribbean, Central South America, and Africa and Asia. Guaranteed. Mark my words. And it's not because people don't love America. It's just about cost of living. It's becoming the norm in a lot of Western European nations, because it's 10 times more expensive to live in Europe than it is in the United States of America. Um, London is like New York on crack, they say, when it comes to the cost of living, but in the UK. But anyways, I just think that's going to just become the norm in all major metropolitan cities from economic standpoint. No political nonsense. I'm not anti-American. I don't care who you vote for. I don't care if you do vote. That's your business. Do what you do. We're talking about facts and figures and math here, not talking about nothing else. So if you want to do that, go to another channel. But anyways, and that's just what it is. Employers, offer that, because not even all employers do offer 401k, but they can make non-elective matching contributions to the plan, which means obviously more money for the employers, and they also have options for to add profit sharing features to the plan. What's more, all earnings to the 401k plan accrue on a tax deferred basis. So, like I said, there's beautiful, a lot of great things about the 401k. I'm not knocking it. I just know for most working people, not rich people, working people, it's not for the most part, it's not going to be enough. Because even according to Investopedia, it says the key takeaways. Although 401k plans are an excellent way to save, it may not be possible to set aside enough for a comfortable retirement, in part because of IRS limits. Inflation plus taxes on 401k distributions erode the value of your savings. Plan fees and mutual fund fees can reduce the positive impact of compound interest on 401k accounts. One solution is to invest in low cost index funds, they say, but I'm not giving out financial advice. I'm just reading off of what Investopedia is stating. It says if you have to dip into your 401k early, you generally will have to pay a penalty as well as taxes on the amount you withdraw. You can borrow from your 401k, but you will need to pay the money back with interest. And that's even another thing to take into consideration. It's a nice vehicle to be able to borrow from, you know. And we know people know that there's limitations and restrictions on 401ks, and that's obviously the downside of things. But the main thing is not being able to have enough money to live off of. Okay. That, and then of course a lot of Americans, even before inflation got to where it is right now, a lot of Americans were just not saving enough money. And that's another thing that nobody wants to talk about. The saving aspects, like the whole, it's just become normal for most working people, regardless if you're a six-figure salary earner or not, to be in the paycheck to pay the living from paycheck to paycheck mindset. Because great example, I remember when the government shutdown happened a couple of years ago. A lot of people were at the point where they was possibly going to get their lights cut off. They were going to be evicted from their home, possibly, possibly go into home foreclosure, because even though you had people from various different salaries getting paid good wages and bad low wages, but you still had a lot of people that were not. They didn't have enough money to get by. I was talking about my friend, him and at his job, where they have a merger going on with the company, and they were late on. People were late on getting paid their paychecks, and they were basically SOL. They were screwed, except him, because he knows how to save his money and he has multiple streams of income. So it's a different mindset when you are not just depending on the paycheck. So that's just one thing to take into consideration. All right. And yeah, there's limitations and restrictions on 401ks. Caps are placed to 401k contributions. Limits, IRS regulations limit the allowed percentage of salary contributions, and this year the maximum contribution to a 401k is only $20,000, and $20,000 is not even a lot of money like it used to be anymore. For someone who makes $150,000 per year, contributing the maximum will give them a savings rate of only 13.67%. And the more someone makes above 150, the smaller their retirement contributions percentages will be. So I know a lot of people have said that you should be able to have, I think you should be able to have, when it comes to the amount of money you contribute to your 401k, I think there should be no limit on it. You know what I mean? I don't understand why there needs to be a limit on how much you can contribute. I get the tax penalty. I get the whole aspect in regards to how it works as far as a retirement plan, but the fact that there's a cap on it in today's world, I think that the best thing is to take the cap off, or at least if there's going to be a cap on it, it needs to be at least to $100,000, because just contributing $20,000 in today's world is just not conducive to what the world is going to be in the next 20, 30 years. And that's just what it is, regardless of who's sitting in the White House, governor's house, and the mayor's house. The math, like they said, the math just doesn't lie. And it says one problem is that the savings rate of 13% is probably too low to reach a comfortable retirement, and savings rate below 10% is almost definitely too low. If you're 50 or over, you can add 6,500 catch-up contributions to that amount for a total of $27,000 in 2022, but your money just won't have enough time to grow. That's another thing to take into consideration. So, and these conversations to me are very important, because, a lot of times, when we're younger, we don't think about this. Now that I'm turning 40, of course, I think about this stuff a lot more. But a lot of people don't think about this stuff because to them it's not important. And obviously until it gets too late. And then when they get older and they have to have a surgery, I'm definitely not making fun of anybody. Then it's GoFundMe time takes place. you know, or if I have a bad car accident and I can't afford to, I don't have the right insurance. I don't have any insurance. I can't afford to fix my car. I might need a new car. The GoFundMe accounts go up. Same thing when somebody dies. If you don't have the right life insurance, the GoFundMe accounts go up. And I'm not making fun of anybody because this stuff is, like I said, this money game is real. I've been reminded of that twice this year, in regards to personal reasons, and then even in regards of one lady. I remember when I was in Atlanta in back in May of this year, 2022, and this young lady came up to me, her and her daughter, and it was literally food for her and her daughter. And she says, "Could you please buy this for me? I don't have enough money." And I bought it for her, and I didn't feel like I was king, or the biggest man on earth and whatnot for doing something to that effect. But the fact that I was about to spend $100 and it was nothing to me, and the fact that she needed me to spend $40 for her, it was something to her in 2022. That said a lot, and that reminds me how serious this money game is. And that's why I was like going in on Kanye or Ye the other day, because I'm like, you got people out here starving, you got people out here about to be homeless and whatnot, but we supposed to care about what a billionaire has to say. When the billionaire's not even talking about how people can get some money, how people can, have the same tax, be in a, be put in the same tax bracket as you are, get the same tax write-offs as you have. But we need to listen to your nonsense. I'm good. You know, I'm good. It is what it is. I don't wish anything bad on anybody, but life is too short to be following people that ain't talking about how to make some economic moves, because in the next 20, 30 years, people are going to be suffering tremendously from an economic standpoint if their economic house is not in order. And that is including myself. All right. But anyways, article says, as the cost of living increases constantly, most of us underestimate the effects of inflation over long periods. Many retirees believe that they have plenty of money for retirement in their 401k accounts and that they are financially sound, only to find that they must downgrade their lifestyle and may still struggle financially to make ends meet. And that is real. And that is real. And moving to Texas is not going to cut it anymore. Moving to Florida is not going to cut it anymore. Moving to the Carolinas, unless, to me, the only safe place for retirement in America, in my personal opinion, the next 20 to 30 years is going to be little small towns with population 2,000, if that. Meaning there's not much happening. Meaning you can buy a property, cash money, and the property taxes are very low. Or maybe you move to West Virginia, where they don't. It's the only state in America that doesn't have personal property taxes, so the property taxes are non-existent. All right, and you decide to have homeowners insurance, and hopefully that's not outrageous. Something to think about. Like I said, these are the things I think about. These are the things that I'm like, man, this is real out here. Remember last week, and I went live. A friend of mine from school that I went to college with, he lives in Colombia now. He's like, only 2% of the country only makes $40,000 a year. So he's like, man, I'm living like a king. I'm stacking my bread and I'm investing my money. So he's going to be able to retire himself before the quote unquote U.S. Legal retirement age, because he lives in a third world country. So it's just something, and I just think it's very normal now for what they say Westerners to live in third world countries now, because it's so much cheaper for them to retire there. It's not anti-American, it's not anti-anything. It's all about the dollars and cents. And if you don't have enough money saved up, you might be put in that position, or you're going to have to maybe live in a house with 2 to 3 different families and whatnot. Like, that's a lot of that's going to become the norm for regular working Americans, in my personal opinion, if they don't start thinking about economics more than they do about the Kardashians, Kanye West, football, video games, and all this other nonsense that's nothing but a freaking distraction at this point. All right. So, article says taxes are also an issue. Granted, 401ks are tax deferred and they grow without accumulating taxes. But once you retire and start making withdrawals from your 401ks, the distributions are added to your yearly income, and they will be taxed at your current income tax rate. Inflation, that rate may be higher than the anticipated 20 years ago, than what that was actually anticipated 20 years ago. Or perhaps the nest egg that you have been building in your 401k for 20, 30 years may not be as grand as you may have expected. All dollars are tax deferred, which means that every $1 you save today, you will only have to have about 63 to 83 cents based on your tax bracket. For higher income earners, this is an even more serious issue, as they are in a higher tax bracket. A $1 million balance isn't really 1 million for you to spend in retirement. It's not, and as you said, for every dollar, as the article says, for every dollar that you save and whatnot, it might be, from a tax perspective, it's going to be shaved down to about 75 to 83 cents and whatnot, or 63 to 88 cents and whatnot, that you're going to be saved, not a whole dollar. So that's something to take into consideration. Got to contact your CPA. You got to contact a financial planner. This stuff is, like I said, this stuff is real out here. But these aren't the conversations that are happening, on a regular basis. And this is just for the people who's lucky enough to even have a 401k. A lot of them people work for employers where they don't even have that. A lot of people, even, and the thing is about investing money in today's world, And it's so easy because of fintech, because of technology. It's like even if your employer doesn't have a 401k, you can still have some sort of an individual retirement account. And I mean, hey, like I said, you can sign up with Webull, Stash, Acorns, and Crypto.com. All of them, they have individual retirement accounts, so you can have one with your local bank. But even still, then you got to make a significant amount of contributions. One, two, you still got to be put in a position to where you not only are you making a significant amount of contributions, but you got to put yourself in a position to where, hey, you ensuring that the money's being invested wisely. A lot of times people, that's why having an understanding of the stock market and how things work is very important. That's why financial intelligence and literacy is important, because but remember, even having that information, if it's not applied, it doesn't mean anything. Or as my grandmother would say, it doesn't mean a hill of beans. you know and then another thing you got to take into consideration: fees and compounding costs. Because and I remember watching a video about this. Hey, what's up, King? Speaking of my man down in Colombia and whatnot. Appreciate it, King. Hopefully all is well with you, man. Always thank you for the support, man. That's all I always ask. Just hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. I'm a simple man. Appreciate that, King. But anyways, yeah, so this is so when you and the thing is, and I know there's a video out there on YouTube is talking about 401k, and why it was created, how it's utilized. It's really just created because they needed more. This corporate America needed more people to invest their money into the stock market, and it was a way for corporate America to get rid of pension plans and whatnot. So, and it is what it is. But but a lot of 401k plans, not all, but a lot. I'm not going to single out anyone, because, like I said, a lot. You have some good ones, you got some bad ones. But a lot of the 401k plans have some outrageous, astronomical fees. Excuse me. And then a lot of times, people don't even know where the money's being invested. They just allow their employer to, because the employer will use an outside company to for 401k services. And with that being said, a lot of times you get access to an account to see where your money's going, how it's being invested. But a lot of times people don't even follow that. They don't even realize and don't even read the company's mantra that they're being utilized. It could be, any company. I'm not going to name anyone, specific one, but they have a specific amount of fees that will occur when you withdraw your money, even when you get to the legal age. All right. And it says the effective administrative fees on 401ks and associated mutual funds can be severe, and these costs can swallow more than half of an individual's savings. 401ks typically has more than a dozen undisclosed fees, such as trustee fees, bookkeeping fees, finder's fees, and legal fees. It's easy to feel overwhelmed when you're trying to figure out whether you are being treated fairly or being fleeced. This is in addition to any fees. Mutual funds within the 401k often take 2% fee right off the top. If it funds up to 7% for the year, but takes 2% fee, you are left with 5%. It sounds like you're getting more significant amounts. Still, the magic of the fund business makes part of your profits vanish, because 7% compounding would return hundreds of thousands more than 5% compounding return. The 2% fee taken off the top cuts the return exponentially. By the time you retire, a mutual fund may have taken up two to thirds of your gains. So it's just something to take into consideration, family. You know, and they say the lack of liquidity, the money that goes into a 401k is essentially locked in a safe that can only be opened when you reach a certain age or have qualified exceptions. One thing I could say: during the pandemic, they allowed the government did a great thing by allowing people to withdraw money from the 401k from a tax-free perspective, because they knew that people were going to fall on hard times. So I'm glad that they lifted that. That was a good thing. But I mean, having money in your 401k IRAs is a beautiful thing, but still putting away money for your nest egg is one of the smartest things anyone can do. Okay, I don't care what the situation is. That's just one of the smartest things anybody can do, and that's just my personal opinion on that one. All right. So, um, anyways, and it's like, so the article ends on this note saying, how much does a person need in their 401k to retire? It says it all depends on what type of lifestyle you expect in retirement. What other, sorry about that. My dog is having a little puppy nightmare as he's sleeping. Retirement income or assets you have. If you need 100,000 per year to live, and you can expect an average return of 5% per year from your 401k assets, you would need more than $2 million saved up. You also have to take to account the deferred tax liability in your retirement account. So if you are in the 25% tax bracket in retirement, you would actually need $2.5 million in your 401k. $2.5 million. Now I think that can be feasible, but yeah, I think it's probably more than that. I think more people are going to probably need $3 to $4 million, quote unquote, in their 401k. But I think I think my like great example, my generation, millennial generation. I think when we get older, it's just going to be normal for working Americans to have to downsize the lifestyle. It's like not only live in a cheaper state, but live in a smaller town, live in a third world country. I just think that's going to be the norm for working people. From now on, and it's just not. I'm not trying to be Mr. Doom and Gloom. I'm just being Mr. Reality. You got to be realistic about certain things in this life, family. And to the people that just depend on the one income, you know, and this is another reason why families have to, start operating more as a corporation. There's no other way to put it. Like a lot of people don't like to hear that, but the days of the one income or even two income family, I just think that's kind of over with for most working Americans. I just think it's over with. Unless I think the exception is not, it's not even about living in a cheaper state or a state where they don't have an income state tax. Um, people having to make more sacrifices, kind of like a lot of immigrants do when they first come here, make a lot of sacrifices for a couple of years to live way, way. It's not even downsizing; it's like living way below your means. Having an older vehicle, um, ensuring you don't have a bunch of don't have a bunch of children that you can't afford, ensuring that you're not overbuying on nonsense. And I know these things can be bad for the U.S. economy if people aren't shopping. It is what it is. But not having the overpriced house, making it normal to only own the condo, own the townhouse, own the one level Rambler house. Not You don't have to have the 2 story or the 3 story house anymore. I think that needs to become the norm for a lot of people. You know just from a financial standpoint. Now, I know that will hurt the U.S. economy, but I just think that's just becoming a reality. Especially we do live in times now where a lot of corporations have bought a lot of new single family homes, so it's just going to be normal for single family home communities to be filled with renters and not filled with people who are homeowners anymore either. That's another thing. I don't see that's not now, but I think that's coming down the pipeline as more and more corporations are buying up real estate. So that's why when people say it's a bad time to buy real estate, I'm like, well, if you can buy real estate and you can afford it, I don't see why it's a bad time. But it's your life and you got to make your own decisions. You know what I mean? But at 2.5 million, I'm going with 3 or 4 million. That's just my personal thing. That's just based off of people needing that extra cushion, because you just never know. And the article goes into what is a good monthly retirement income. It's like obviously this varies on people, but according to the AARP, one should expect to have a net income that is roughly 80% of their pre-retirement income. Okay, roughly 80% of their pre-retirement income. Um, and then obviously it's like, what else can I draw from in retirement? In addition to my 401k. In addition to withdrawals, you may also have, obviously you can have an IRA, you can have a Social Security. They talk about if you own a home and you're unlikely to pass it down to your heirs, then think about having a reverse mortgage, can also provide income in retirement. But that's just something that's supposed to be like obviously, if you're not passing down, if you don't have any children or grandchildren to pass down anything, then obviously that's something to take into consideration, because then that can cut down your mortgage and pay you money. But I'm not going to get into the crux of that, because that's really going into, to me, financial advice. But if you want to look into reverse mortgages, check it out on YouTube. But at the end of the day, I'm not, like I said, I'm not anti 401k, but I am pro people being financially intelligent. And your money has to work for you, because as Warren Buffett says, if you don't find a way to make money in your sleep, then you will work till the day you die. And a lot of people, unfortunately, are going to have to work until the day they die. It's just becoming a reality more and more every single day for people. So because this is, retirement is a lot harder for working Americans that don't think outside of the box. Just, especially for families who don't think outside of the box. Like I said, this Leave It to Beaver lifestyle, the Brady Bunch lifestyle, it's over for most working Americans. It just is, unless, like I said, to me, for the working Americans whose family members already are in the habit of passing down assets when they die, because there's economic life after death for your heirs. If it's something you practice, then it's another story for another day. But for the families that don't practice that and they still buy into the you need to start off from scratch mindset, and a lot of people, they have no choice because there's going to always be poor people in this country too, and it, like there is in every country. So it's just something to take into consideration. But I know in my deep down in my heart of hearts that the days are over of men just men or just couples and families just having the job and living the leave it to beaver lifestyle. You got to have multiple streams of income. You got to have a significant savings amount. Your credit's got to be right. You got to ensure that your money's working for you in a variety of different accounts. It has to become the norm, because if not, for working people, like I said, because this is why I do this for working people, that I just think your life is going to be much, much harder. And, as this article I read, showing this couple, one who's 63 and one who's 67, both retired, discuss travel plans at their home. Um, but, they retired earlier in 2022, but has them rethinking about going back to work because they don't have enough money saved up. And these people are in their mid 60s, early to mid 60s. That's some serious stuff. You know, that's why, and I remember hearing this word during the pandemic. I mean, this sentence that I'm about to say, the statement that I'm about to say in the pandemic. Remember this: retirement has nothing to do with age. Retirement is all about income. Because if you won the lottery today, even 10 to $30 million and whatnot, even though they're going to take half of it, you could put yourself in a position to retire. But even then, you still got to ensure that your money's working for you. Because if not, that's why most freaking lottery winners lose all their money, because they don't understand the principles of how money is supposed to work. They don't get the right financial advisor. They don't want to educate themselves on the matter. They just want to party it up like a rock star. And then that rock star ends up broke as a joke, back where they started from or whatnot. And I'm sorry, if I won the lottery, I'm not trying to start back from scratch again or whatnot. I'm going in the hide, and the only time you're gonna see me is on my channel. That's what it's gonna be. You know, that's what it's gonna be. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Because the article says labor force of people ages 75 and older is expected to nearly double by 2030, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics projections. And among these ages 55 and older, the number of full-time employees in May 2022, which is obviously past, was the highest it's been in data dating to 1986. So we have the highest amount of work of quote unquote senior citizens still working full time in today's world. God rest this my former coworker, so I will not name her because she was a very sweet lady. I called her like my third grandmother, but she was 77 years old when she passed away. Never forget this. 2017, sweetest lady on the planet, and she was 77 years old, still working, and it's because she had to, because she did not have enough money saved up. you know and I just don't, I see that happening for more working Americans, and I don't want that to happen for more working Americans, but I see it happening for more families who are not talking about money in the sense of outside of bragging about what they have. They're not talking about economics. They're not talking about building together from an economic perspective. They're not exchanging ideas on how to save and invest money and make money in their sleep. If your family's not talking about that, and you're not your family's not rich, your family's not wealthy, then I think I say all families are doing it wrong. Period. There's just no way other way to slice it. At the end of the day, you can't slice it at all. This one gentleman who's 62 years old says retirement is not what I expected. He wishes he'd sought expert financial advice before walking away at age 62. It's like I said, retirement has become a thing of the past in the United States of America, for working people, in my personal opinion. I think retirement is kind of going to get back to what it was before there were pension plans, to where the elders just they lived with the family members and they took care of them until they passed away, and then it's just a revolving door. I kind of see that happening in the future in the United States of America, just because of the lack of, not enough saved, not enough income, et cetera, and so forth. It's just what it is. I see that in the foreseeable future. But I could be wrong. But that's just it's from what I'm seeing now, and I'm just looking at it from a math perspective, not a not an anti anything perspective, just the math. And when you do the numbers, you do the numbers, you know. Um, but it is what it is, you know, it is what it is. Um, and yes, seeking out financial advice. I mean, heck, myself, I need to, in the new year, I need to get with a financial expert myself, because I know that there's more that I could be doing, you know, with my money. And that's, you know, not even just earning more, but I know that there's more that I could be doing. So it is what it is. So, because one person was like, I don't want to be that person. It would be nice to eventually have the American dream. The individual stated at 54, retired one day after numerous years of work. Been working since she was 16, and has spent most of these years at Pavilions, a grocery chain owned by Bonds. She made her way up from the bottom to the current role as front end supervisor. Um, at 50, 54 years old, with a good pension plan and years of putting in 10% of her paycheck into her 401k. Young lady had planned to leave when she reached her golden age of 85. Wow, the golden age of 85. When her age plus her years vested with the company totals 85, allowing her to get the maximum payout from her pension. Her 401k plan doesn't have any employee match. Wow. She didn't intend to stop work entirely, but was looking forward to finding some kind of job with passion and joy, something that brought a lot of happiness to my life. But her golden 85 flew by in December, and she didn't think she could leave quite yet. Her daughter is only 14, and she's the breadwinner of the family, while her husband focuses on child rearing. Her husband retired 12 years ago at age 53 after reaching his golden 90. Also, okay, they're talking about 90,000, not 80. They're not talking about age 80. Also at Pavilions, where he worked as a night crew manager. And like I said, these are conversations that I think, especially your newlywed couples need to be having, before you walk down that aisle. You're in love and you're there, you support each other, all that great. You want to take your vows before God, all that great stuff. I'm not mad at you. But if the economic conversation isn't talked about, then to me there ain't nothing else to talk about. You know. Life, this fantasy world we live in is serious. Okay? It's serious. All right, it really is. One person says, "I feel anxiety, a little bit of anxiety." Has this one young lady has been retired for only the last 2 months, and already she's thinking about things she thought she left behind for good. The long list of work-related contacts she made working for an energy company, her work on many boards and associations. In short, she's thinking about all the people and places that could have help her leave retirement and whatnot. And that's just, like I said, it's just something to just take into consideration. But she's 63 years old and is worried she didn't have enough before calling it quits on her career. She says, "I have savings, a great pension, but I think I started saving too late. You never have complete confidence about it. I hold myself accountable for not doing a better job saving. I didn't do it until I was in my 30s and whatnot. And even then, I don't think that's 30 years later, can, as a working person, can you really save enough? And then, 30 years, things are going to happen in life. Cars are going to break down. If you own a house, issues are going to happen with your property. Health issues, things are going to happen in life. It's not a joke, you know, it's just not a joke. So I'm not going to read through all this, but at the end of the day, I figure everybody has an idea of what I'm talking about. And especially if you're like me, if you're getting older, it's really time to start thinking about this stuff a lot more so, because it's real out here. You know, it's real out here, and I don't want anybody to fall prey um, to getting into their 50s and 60s and saying to themselves, "I don't have enough saved up. I don't have enough vested." You know, I don't want you to fall in that category. I will say that much. I do not want you to fall into that category. But because the thing is, and me, I don't want to fall in that category. That's why it's like, I know I save, I invest, all that good stuff, but me, and obviously I'm all about the multiple online stores, selling products there, got the rental properties, got the wholesale business, got a job and whatnot. But even me myself, I'm not. I could fall into that category. Any of us could. Even millionaires and billionaires could fall into this category. No, you never. 100% safe. You're always vulnerable. Look at Kanye West. You could always be put in a vulnerable position, you know. And because I could just see myself getting older and somebody coming at me saying that I got to, work longer, and I just go all old school Louis Gossett Jr. on them, kind of like this.
No different than anyone else. You really believe that nonsense you're saying? You really believe that nonsense you're saying? Look at me when I talk to you. Look at me when I talk to you.
I always consider that person from Louis Gossett in that movie. I forgot the character's name he played, but I can see myself when I get older being like that. So, I don't want to have to deal with that, and I don't want anybody else to deal with that. So, do your best to do your research and consult a financial advisor, but have the sound mind. This is what I will say to you. When you go to the legal advisor, have a sound mind. Hey, this is my lifestyle right now. When I get older, I want to have something either similar or exactly like the lifestyle I'm living now. How do we get there? And the sooner you do that, getting the right advice from a financial advisor, the better. Because if you don't, then you're going to be put in a position where I'm just going to have to say,
don't hate the player. Don't hate the game. Hate the game.
And that's real. Don't hate the player, hate the game. And if you live in the United States of America, you're in the game, economic game. And are you willing to, are you playing, or are you willing to play the game right? I can't answer that question for you. Only you can. All right, because the game is, what a Snoop Dogg's old album when he first got with No Limit Records. The game is to be sold, not told, and the game is being told in various different levels nowadays out here. But the question is, are you going to answer? Are you going to play accordingly, or are you going to continuously act like you're not in a chess game and act like you're in a checkers game? You're not in a checkers game. Society just wants you to think that you're in a checkers game, meaning that if I just go to school, get a good job, get married, have a family, pay my bills, save up enough money, put money aside, invest my money, then everything's going to be all right. That could not be further from a lie in 2022. You got to add on layers to what I just said. That's considered 1985 behavior in 2022. And if people were acting like they were in 1955, in 1985, then a lot of those people suffered from that, especially when a lot of those factory jobs started leaving the United States. And people had to act accordingly in a different manner. All right. We see what's going on now in 2022 with the job market. You see what's happening with retirement. It's nothing to do with politics. It's everything to do with economics. So if you see it happening now, and you know that things are going to be way different in the next 10 to 20 years, 30 years from now, we have to act accordingly and think differently and act differently and live differently and be around other people who are different. Because if not, we fall prey to the lifestyle of being homeless, dying earlier. A lot of things to take into consideration, family. So on that note, do the great 3 free things. Like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day. As I always say, make money moves or you're going to live broke like a fool. Like I said, if you're a stock market investor, crypto investor, individual retirement account investor, don't forget to check out WEBULL, Stash, Acorns, Crypto.com. All those platforms you'll be able to make some money when you sign up and get your investing on. Plus, with WEBULL, you'll be able to get some free stocks. So it's all good in the neighborhood. And on that note, family, I'm out.
Michael, now.